screening and ED treatment to testosterone therapy and vasectomies. Their board-certified urologists provide expert care that's personal, not pushy. TNValleyurology.com. Book your appointment today.
From the Kia of Cleveland Studios, this is ESPN Cleveland 1013, WCLE HD2 Cleveland, W267BI Cleveland, ESPN Cleveland 1013.
The top of the hour is presented by Best Buy Metals, making the top of your house the best it can be. Visit bestbuymetalroofing.com.
It's time for The Drive on ESPN Cleveland 101.3, presented by Hardees. We will bring you nonstop sports news from the national and local scene and everything in between. So buckle up and join in on the conversation. It's The Drive.
Welcome back into The Drive here on ESPN Cleveland. Hope everyone out there is having a good Thursday. We're close to the end of the week. Not quite. We still got one more day, but you can see it in the horizon. So excited to, talk a little sports today. Again, the regular co-host, Andy and Jacob, once again, are still not here. But we got Bart Greenberger is back for round 2 this week. You were here on Monday. Yeah, we had another gentleman came in yesterday and the day before, but you were back on Thursday. The reason he came back is because I posed a question to him, and it's taken him 3 days to come up with an answer, and he just had to come back.
I wish that weren't true, but it is true. Thank you for having me. We'll talk a little baseball, and I do have an answer for that question.
Yes, and also later on today, around 5:40 or ish. Bradley Central High football coach Damon Floyd, we'll be talking to him as the Bears take on Saudi Daisy this Friday. They're the only local team that's playing, by the way. Walker Valley and Cleveland are both off. So we're going to talk about that as well. But I want to start off today's show talking about the postseason baseball that went on last night. The New York Yankees eliminated Toronto. And that team's hitting on all cylinders right now.
You said that backwards. Toronto eliminated.
What did I say?
You said the Yankees eliminated Toronto.
The Yankees got eliminated by. That's what I wanted. The Yankees got eliminated by the Toronto Blue Jays, 5-2 in New York. So the Blue Jays are hitting on all cylinders right now. They seem to be, they look solid to me. They look really solid. Now, obviously, your offense is only as good as the next pitcher that you face. But, man, they looked good. I thought they looked good in this series.
They set a record in the first 2 games of that series for most runs in the history of postseason. They can hit. But here's the thing. Toronto can pitch, too. They shut down the Yankees' offense, and the Yankees' offense, and we've talked about it on this show in previous weeks, other than Aaron Judge, who do you have? Chaz and Chisholm and Bellinger were down. Mm-hmm. But they still put up some runs in this series.
They did.
They just couldn't compete with Toronto's pitching or their hitting.
And then, of course, they're going to play the winner. The Seattle and Detroit series will conclude tomorrow, Game 5 of that, best of 5 series.
Who are you rooting for?
I'm kind of pulling for Detroit.
So am I.
Nothing against Seattle, and I really like that team. There are a lot of good guys on there. I just think a Detroit-Toronto, because those two cities are fairly close. There's a decent little rivalry, I believe, between those two cities. So I think that would be kind of cool to watch those two go against each other.
I also like Seattle. I like Randy Arozarena, who came up in the Cardinals organization. But as dumb of a reason as it is, on this very program 2 weeks ago, I predicted Milwaukee-Detroit. So for no other reason than that was my prediction on air, I'm going to stick with Detroit winning this series. I'm rooting for Detroit.
Well, back in June, I actually said Toronto and the Cubs. I feel pretty good about Toronto. Cubs, not so much.
Hey, they won yesterday.
They did.
I watched most of that game.
They did. And but man, that Milwaukee team, that's a good ball club, and best record in the National League, and they look legit. They look legit to me.
And they've got this Jacob Mizorowski kid that came out of nowhere, and he only throws 101. And the kid throws strikes, and he has off speed. Milwaukee looks good. It's going to be a fun series. I'm obviously rooting for Milwaukee, but yes.
All right, let's talk a little bit about the National League now. You got the Cubs, and Philly stayed alive yesterday with wins. The Phillies and Dodgers is the visiting team wins every game, apparently.
Did you see that game the Philly game? It was late.
Well, I missed that eighth inning when Kershaw came in there. I saw the highlights.
I was going to ask.
It was.
So I was watching.
You know, it's so odd because we asked this on the show a week or so ago about Clayton Kershaw. I mean, obviously he's a Hall of Famer.
Obviously.
Great regular season pitcher, but man, his postseason and what happened last night didn't help matters.
Not at all. And the announcers even said, Dave Roberts left him in. I didn't think he was going to get through the entire inning. He left him in to finish the inning. The line ended up 5 runs, 4 earned. I think it was 4 or 5 hits. And I'm telling you, these hits were not cheap.
No.
If you saw Schwarber's home run, granted, I think it went higher than it went far, but it still went far enough to clear the fence.
Yeah.
He just didn't have it. He was leaving everything up. And the Clayton Kershaw that you and I have watched for 15 years, he did not leave that many pitches up.
It is so odd. You know, he's done it his whole career.
Yep.
He's struggled in the postseason, even when he was the dominant, pitcher. And if for whatever reason the postseason has not been kind to him, and I hate it because unfortunately it's kind of like the Bill Buckner thing. Drives me crazy. Bill Buckner was a fantastic player during his career, regardless of what team he was on. But what does everyone remember?
One ball.
The ball going through his
one ball.
In the 1986 World Series, and that's always the first thing that people bring up, and it's so unfair.
It's very interesting you say that because I had a conversation yesterday with somebody about Don Denkinger and Jim Joyce.
Yeah, we were talking about
that. And you and I were also talking about it.
Yeah, I think we were off the air when we talked about it.
That's what it was.
We were off
the
air. Yeah.
So these two guys, just like Bill Buckner, had phenomenal umpiring careers, and the first thing that they're remembered for is an error, and that's not fair.
Right. And remind everyone, Don Denkinger was a World Series, the Kansas City Royals and the St. Louis Cardinals, and Jim Joyce was a perfect game blown.
So Don Denkinger was the first base umpire in Game 6 of the 1985 Cardinals Kansas City Royals World Series. Again,
the
I'm
Show
from
Me
St.
State
Louis.
Series.
The Show Me State Series. I'm from St. Louis. Ground ball to the first baseman. He flips to Todd Worrell covering first, and Don Denkinger said Todd Worrell missed first base. Replay show he didn't.
Clearly an out.
And that would have been the game.
Mm-hmm.
Then
and the Royals went on to win that game when the series should have been over with.
Dane Orge hit a single in the 10th inning to give them the lead. So they ended up winning Game 6. Then they won 11-0.
Right, Game 7.
Game 7.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Jim Joyce, for those that don't remember, Andres Galarraga, the pitcher. I'm sorry, not Andres. It was Armando Galarraga.
Yeah.
He had a perfect game, 2 outs in the bottom of the 9th inning for Detroit. I don't remember who he was playing.
Cleveland.
Okay.
It was Cleveland.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And there was another play at first base that the pitcher was covering, and he stepped on the bag. Clearly
27th out.
27th perfect game out. Jim Joyce called him safe. Again, replay was not in existence in Major League Baseball at that time. And he was called safe. Jim Joyce saw the replay in the locker room afterwards and was in tears.
Yeah, he was sick to his stomach.
He felt horrible. He sent a note to the pitcher apologizing. It was not done with any maliciousness. It happened. And that's why Major League Baseball, and that's why NFL, and that's why every major pro and college industries are going to replay, because the game happens too fast.
There had been talk once they instituted replay of retroactively giving him a perfect game, and Major League Baseball said no. And even Galarraga even said no. That's the rules were in place then. I don't want to be a special case. Unfortunately, this kid really just had basically a cup of tea or a cup of coffee in the majors.
That's it.
And he really didn't do much after that. That was his one shining moment, and it just never turned into what we thought. Everyone thought, well, this kid's going to be the dominant pitcher. He looked dominant. That day was. But, man, But the thing is, we remember that more for the blown call, and that no perfect game should have been a perfect game than Tom Brennan pitched a perfect game for Cincinnati. You rarely talk about that. I remember the almost perfect game for the Detroit Tigers more, and because of that.
I agree with you. And it is unfortunate. A college roommate of mine just yesterday sent me a little video a professor talking in front of the class saying that we as humans tend to correct people's mistakes or point them out because it's a flaw in us. And I thought, wow, that's really powerful. Why do I remember the Jim Joyces? Why do I remember the Don Denkingers instead of remembering the Don Larson 1954 perfect game in the World Series?
Right. And it's around here, maybe a call that maybe should have been maybe it shouldn't have been made, was the infield fly rule that wasn't called.
Cardinals.
And every Atlanta Braves fan would say, I can't believe that. And Gord said they went ballistic. They're throwing trash on the field. That's one of those. And everyone, you're an umpire, I'm an umpire. The infield fly, the terminology infield makes people think, well, it was not in the infield. Well, you can be a little bit into the outfield grass. Now, how far out can you go? That was a close. That's one of those calls you could say either way and I could be okay with it.
I know you're an umpire, so I don't mean to put you on the spot. Do you remember what the actual rule says in the NFHS rulebook? I can't say Major League.
I do not know. I cannot remember that now. It's been a few years since I've
I didn't mean to put you on the spot.
But making a very easy catch without any little effort or whatnot.
The phrase is reasonable effort.
Yeah,
reasonable effort. And I knew you knew it and you were close. That play that you're referring to, Matt Holliday and left, I don't even remember who the shortstop was for the Cardinals. The rule says, can a player make a reasonable effort?
He was camped under it.
He wasn't.
Well, he was.
He started to.
He should have, yeah.
And then Holliday called him off,
and he
backed off.
He peeled away.
And the umpire saw where the fielder looked like he was about to camp under it, and he made that judgment call.
Right then, right before he was called off.
That's exactly right. So I understand that Braves fans were upset. As an official, I was looking at it through an official's eyes, but the truth is that it wasn't a horrible call. It wasn't egregious. It was close. It was borderline, and in that particular case, it went the Cardinals' way, not the Braves.
I know we do this every time you and I do a show. Nothing drives me more crazy than an umpire that calls an infield fly rule before it should be called. We've all seen it. We're like, no, man, there was not. No, that. The ball wasn't high enough. Nobody was camped under it, and you know what I'm saying. But we've all seen it. Umpires popped up. Oh, it's infield fly, and I'm like, no, not yet, not yet.
That's right. And you know this. A lot of fans may not know that we as officials in every sport are taught pause, read, and react.
Yes.
Pause, read, and react. So as an umpire behind the plate, I pause. I look at my partner. Does my partner give me the sign?
Right. Mm-hmm.
Read, then I'll react. And as you know, but a lot of the fans don't know, we as umpires don't have to say a word, and it is still an infield fly, and the runners are still responsible if they tag up on their own. Whether we call it or not, and I've recently reread the rule book, we still can call them out if they try and advance, even if we don't call it.
Yeah, we should call it.
Oh, absolutely.
We should call it. I mean, we should, but that's... And why do we every time you and I get on the show, there's a play or something as an umpire, I watch a game differently now than I did before I was ever an umpire.
Always.
I actually when I go to a Lookouts game or something. Of course, there's three-man crews in minor league baseball. Have they always been three-man crews, by the way?
You say always.
Were they ever
as long as I can remember?
Yeah, but there have been three-man crews for the longest time. But I love to watch those guys, how they rotate. You'll see, the home plate. Sometimes the home plate umpire will go to third. The first base umpire will take the plate because there's that rotation thing going on. And when it's done great, it's a beautiful thing to watch.
It is choreography.
Yeah, it really is.
You and I met at a particular networking group. I won't talk about it here. I cannot tell you how many people from that group have come up to me. I want to watch a baseball game with you. And very recently, less than a month ago, by the way, the guy happens to have a birthday today. Happy 55th, Dave Jones.
Dave Jones, of course. I knew that's who it was.
It's his 55th.
I remember him.
He invited me to a Lookouts game less than a month ago. And just like you, I watch baseball through the umpire's lens. And I just started describing. First base umpire came to take a plate. And Dave is like, why is that umpire out of position? No.
Yeah.
This is the rotation.
And on a three-man crew.
On a three-man crew. Yeah. And by the way, it was a shot down the line.
Exactly.
And I knew you knew that. Mm-hmm. So the home plate umpire rotated to third. So again, you know this. Mm-hmm. The first base umpire came in, and I was watching him, and he did it perfectly. And I said something to Dave. He's like, oh.
Because he's got nothing else to do.
He wasn't watching the umpires. He was watching the ball and the runner.
And that's the reason they do this, because after the ball's down the line and he sees the guy touch first, he's got nothing else to do. So that's what he's got to do something. There might be a play at home, and the third base umpire has to be at third in case there's a play there. So somebody's going to be at home, and the first base umpire's got nothing else to do. And I tried to explain that to people when I went to a Lookouts game earlier this year. By the way, speaking of Lookouts, have you been by their new ballpark?
I haven't.
You need to go by there, man. You know where it's at, on South Broad.
Yep.
Man, that is going to be a fantastic facility. Chattanooga is going to really be blessed. A&T Field was a very cheaply constructed ballpark. This is not. This is a state-of-the-art ballpark that I think is going to last for 50 years.
How long has the AT&T field?
About 25 years. It was cheaply built, and really the where it was located, it wasn't a bad location, but man, all you had there was just the ballpark. You didn't have things really, really close by. You could go down, but it was a long walk. What they're going to do at this new ballpark is have all sorts of restaurants and shops and everything that's going to be springing up around. It's going to be like what they've done in St. Louis or Atlanta. They're like a ballpark village or whatever. Now, obviously, it's going to take time. But, man, Chattanooga is going to be blessed with a great ballpark.
And if they do it like St. Louis, like Atlanta, and they put condos in there and you can get some younger people around, now all of a sudden you're going to have more vibrant of a downtown. Right. I look forward to it.
And the South Side really needs some life injected into it. And this stuff hopefully will be the beginning of something like that. And it's also a great way to showcase Chattanooga off, people coming into Chattanooga, because that was such an eyesore for decades,
that
man.
Building there. I know exactly what you're talking about.
The foundry was just dilapidated. It was, of course, it's been abandoned for like 30 years now. And so, yeah, it's going to be a great front door, if you will, or back door, whichever way you want to look at it. Coming or going.
Do you enjoy going to Lookouts games as much as I do?
I do.
Yeah.
It's affordable. It's quick in and out.
It's 2 hours.
It's affordable. It's just fun. They're just fun. And, minor league games, 2 hours.
Yeah.
They're not. They don't take that long.
2:15.
Yeah.
They get them and but these guys typically they want to be there and they're hustling their tush off.
Absolutely.
I worked in minor league baseball for 4 years, so I have an affinity for it. But now that I'm just a fan, I enjoy it so much.
Yeah. Let's go ahead and take our break. When we come back, we're going to dive into a couple questions. We're going to revisit that question that you and I talked about on Monday. You're listening to The Drive here on ESPN Cleveland. We'll be back after this.
The Drive will be back after a quick timeout. Stay tuned for more nonstop sports talk on The Drive, presented by Hardees.
This is John Davis, the trading man at Kia Cleveland on South Lee Highway. Is your old car really scary? Are you frightened about how much you owe? Don't be afraid. We'll take any trade. Let your scary old car rust in peace. Kia Cleveland will pay you up to $7,000 over Kelley Blue Book market value for your current vehicle, running or not. That's right, up to $7,000 for any trade in any condition. And we'll buy your car for cash, even if you don't buy a car from us. Are you haunted by bad credit? Don't sweat it. Our lenders will say yes to you and yes to your situation. Don't be frightened by how much you owe on your old car. At Kia of Cleveland, we can get you out. Come see me, John Davis, at Kia Cleveland on South Lee Highway in beautiful Cleveland, Tennessee, where trading your car is as easy as 1, 2, 3. Negative trade equity financed in new loan, subject to lender approval. Expires month end.
KiaofCleveland.com. The difference between an average morning and a Hardee's morning is hearty goodness that lasts till lunchtime. Like Hardee's smoked sausage biscuit, split Hillshire Farm smoked sausage on a made-from-scratch buttermilk biscuit. And our Frisco breakfast sandwich with cherrywood smoked bacon or ham on toasted sourdough. Hardee's, goodness in the making. Download the app and join my rewards for special offers. Available for a limited time at participating restaurants.
When competition is fierce, sports injuries happen, and Center for Sports Medicine and Orthopedics is here to help. Saturday sports clinics are available at our Chattanooga and Cleveland offices from August 23rd through November 8th for the treatment of non-emergency orthopedic injuries like sprains, strains, and fractures. Doors open at 9 a.m., no appointment needed to be seen by our highly trained physicians and clinical staff. Saturday sports clinic dates are subject to change. Check sportmed.com for the latest information. That's sportmed.com.
ESPN Cleveland 101.3 is powered by Duracell.
This is Alfonso Revizo, General Manager over at Crown in Cleveland, your local Jeep and Ram dealership.
When you need a new roof, it's all about trust. Your home is too big an investment and you can't afford to make a mistake. Cleveland Plywood has the products and expertise you're looking for. Contractors have trusted them for over 50 years, and they carry only proven products from reputable suppliers like IKO. IKO Cambridge is one of the heaviest weight asphalt shingles you can buy, and their limited warranties are among the industry's best. Protect the investment you've made in your home. Go with the pros at Cleveland Plywood, 2700 20th Street Northeast in Cleveland. Call 472-3357.
Cleveland Tire Center, locally owned and operated for over 45 years. Cleveland Tire, your one-stop auto care shop in Cleveland. North Lee Highway, where the name says it all.
Welcome back to The Drive, presented by Hardees. Join the conversation. Text 423-749-1013. You can also listen anywhere on our website, ESPNCleveland1013.com.
Duracell in Cleveland is now hiring mechanical skilled technicians, $22 to $27 per hour. Excellent benefits beginning day one: medical, dental, vision insurance, paid vacation, holiday pay, 401k, tuition reimbursement, and more. Apply it now at Duracell.com. That's Duracell.com. And just a reminder, we will be talking with Bradley Central High football coach Damon Floyd in about 10 minutes or so. But in the meantime, we've got Bart Greenberger here. And Bart, this past Monday, you and I talked a little bit about things as we were basically wrapping up the show. And I kind of put you on a spot. I said, because we were talking about some rule changes in different sports. I said, hey, if you could change anything in baseball, so you're the commissioner today, what would you, not necessarily change, but what would you change about the sport or overall? So you had a few days to kind of sit on this and think it over. So what did you come up with?
I did think about it. And by the way, you've known me long enough to know I don't get stumped very easily. So the fact that I did not have an answer on Monday kind of embarrassed me. But I thought and I thought and I thought. And my cousin, Melissa, who's listening right now in Cleveland, Ohio, she's a big Ohio State fan, just like Jim is. I can't get away.
She's already a very intelligent
She's
lady.
A season ticket holder to the Buckeyes football.
There you go.
Anyway, so she sent this out to a friend, and her friend came up with answers, and I finally was able to think, if I'm commissioner for a day, I shorten the MLB season. And I think 162 games is way too long, but that's not why. Major League Baseball's prime games, their quintessential Super Bowl, if you will, are almost always played when it is 30 degrees out with northern teams in late October. And I think that's dumb. So I think if you
it is dumb. It is dumb because it affects everything.
Everything. The game, the fans.
It's played differently.
It really is. So therefore, I would shorten the season by 2 weeks. 15 games. I'm going to implement something you texted me last night, so I don't mean to steal it, but I'm going to steal it from you. Is Jim suggested let's add natural doubleheaders. One price of admission gets you 2 games. Every team has
It's not a day-night doubleheader where you empty the ballpark. You get 2 games
old time.
For one
old
ticket.
time.
Yep.
2 9-inning games. So I would implement that. You only lose maybe maybe 5 to 10 games. But what you do is you move the playoffs up just by 2 weeks.
Yep. If you remember, well, maybe you don't remember, but you probably know this. Back in the early '60s, when they expanded the Angels, the Mets, and a few other
Mariners,
teams,
right?
No, not the Mariners. Were in '76.
Oh, I thought they were
but you had
69.
the Angels. Oh, the new Washington Senators, which are now the Texas Rangers, the Mets, and who was the other team? Not the Padres. That was '69. Either one. But they went from 154 games to 162.
Right.
And that was the year that Roger Maris broke Babe Ruth's record. That's why you saw the asterisk.
That's right.
Because he did it in 162 games. Babe Ruth did it in 154 games. Obviously, that asterisk no longer exists. They actually removed that because that was a stigma.
It was
to Roger Maris. But I wouldn't be opposed going back to 154 games.
I would love it. Shorten the season by 2 weeks, so now your Super Bowl of baseball, the World Series, is not necessarily played when it is 30, 35, 40 degrees out. Fans don't want to be there. Coaches don't want to be there. Players don't want to be there. That's what I would do.
And think about this, Bart. Back then, there was no postseason playoffs. The national champion played American League champion in the World Series.
That's right.
It started like October 1st. Now you got multi levels of playoffs.
4 rounds.
You got the first, the wild card. Now you're in the division series. Then you got the NL and the ALCS. Then the World Series. I mean, we're talking about, what was it? Jeter was called Mr. November that one time he hit a home run.
That's right.
I mean, that's ridiculous.
Yes.
A World Series should not even be played in the last week of October, much less into November. I'm 100% for what you said.
And you're a traditionalist. I knew you would like that idea. It's just a way so the fans can enjoy the greatest game. One of the reasons why the NFL for years would only do warm cities, because the Super Bowl would usually be about the first or second week of February. They didn't want to send their fans north. Then they sent them to Atlanta. I don't know the year.
They had the ice, but they were in the Georgia Dome.
I know, but getting to the stadium, I'm pretty sure it was February of 2001. I'm pretty sure that was the Rams-Patriots, where the Rams lost because the Patriots are cheaters. Did I say that out loud? They held Torrey Brose and Isaac Bruce on every play. But I'm not going to get into that. I'm still not bitter, Jim. Yes, he is.
Listen, as long as you got a dome stadium for the NFL, for the Super Bowl,
agreed.
You can play it anytime, anywhere. But baseball, there's so few of them. I mean, Yankee Stadium, Fenway Park, they're not going to ever.
Chicago?
We're talking about teams this year, obviously. I mean, New York and Boston were in the postseason. Obviously, they've been eliminated. But now Los Angeles, you're fine there. San Diego, you're fine. You're
Houston,
always going to be
Texas,
fine.
You're fine.
Yeah, you're going to be fine there. And even Atlanta, you're probably going to be fine, although it can get quite cold in Atlanta at times during late October, early November. But, man, you're right. For the most part, it's like Cleveland. They're, Detroit this year. So we're talking about now Toronto. You have the I still what they call it Sky Dome. Rogers Center. But so you're going to be okay there. But there's too many instances where a team has an outdoor ballpark, then you're going to be having people bundled up. And the players are out there trying to play baseball in 30-degree weather. The pitchers can't grip the ball as well. Everything's affected negatively.
And you're not even mentioning the Midwest teams. St. Louis gets cold in October.
Yeah. Kansas City.
That's right. I've been to playoff games and World Series games in St. Louis, literally in a parka and earmuffs. It is too darn cold in late October to be playing World Series games like that.
And St. Louis can get blistering hot in June, July, and August.
I'm not complaining about that. I love that.
Okay, another question I got, and I sent this to you. You have to swap 4 major league teams, 2 in the National League, 2 in the American League, but none can be from New York, Chicago, or Los Angeles, where we have 2 teams in each city. So you got to keep the Mets and Yankees, the Angels and the Dodgers, and the White Sox and the Cubs. So you can't include any of those teams. Which 4 teams are you swapping out, and why?
And I had to clarify it, so I'm just doing this for the listeners. I had to ask Jim, you just mean moving 2 from the NL to the AL and vice versa? Mm-hmm. And at first I thought, oh, that's a tough question. And then I, being the nerd that I am, I listed all 30 major league teams, and it turns out it wasn't as difficult for me. For me, I would switch Florida and Tampa just so these cities see different teams.
Okay.
There's no real benefit to it. There's no real travel benefit to it. The other one I switch is Colorado and Vegas. Now, the reality is I think that Colorado and Vegas should actually be in the same division. So one of the things I asked you is this before or after Major League Baseball expands to 32? Because
Well, it's now. If it happened tomorrow,
right?
yeah.
Because there are rumors. If you haven't heard, there are rumors that they're going to add Nashville or Charlotte and Portland. Those are the three.
And Salt Lake City's in the running.
Oh,
And
I did hear that.
I still think Montreal deserves. I think they got the shaft, but that's just me. That's just me. All right, here's mine.
I'm ready.
I've got Kansas City going to the National League as a rival with St. Louis on an annual basis. I've got Colorado moving from the National League to the American League as a rival with the Las Vegas Athletics. I've got Washington moving to the National League as a rival with Baltimore.
Love it.
And I've got Tampa Bay moving to the National League as a rival with Miami and Atlanta. And that was my thought process.
What was the third team? What was the third on your list?
I did Kansas City to the National League, Colorado to the American League, Washington.
That's what it was. Washington
to the American League, and I've got Tampa to
I
the
love
National
those. Those are actually better than mine. I was trying to look at travel, and I knew that just switching Florida and Tampa didn't help in travel. What you just came up with is so much better. I like that.
But I got to ask you this. We both have seen it, and I don't have it in front of me. The radical realignment that some people have put together, I would go nuts.
I wouldn't. So that would be just like football, 8-4.
Everything's
team division.
geographical. Everything's geographical.
Are you kidding me? To just have Pittsburgh, Cincinnati, Cleveland, and Baltimore in football, and then why couldn't you do something very similar? Cleveland,
I would have Detroit, Cleveland, Cincinnati, and Pittsburgh.
Yeah,
I think that would be a good one.
Yes. You take a drink of water. See, something like that where all four of them are so close together. Now, I will say Minnesota, Detroit probably should be in the same division because they're so close. But what you just said, yes, let's do it.
They've got the Cubs and White Sox, the Yankees and Mets, the Dodgers and Angels, all in their same divisions.
Right.
I don't know about that. I kind of like having the possibility of a Subway Series or a Freeway Series, or I guess I don't know what you'd call the one in Chicago, the Windy City Series or something. I'm okay with having those two cities, those three cities having a National League and an American League team. But I could see mixing it, doing that though.
The reason I like it is because now you have, if you're the home team for that particular series, you have twice as much of a chance to sell out that series because you're going to get the fans from the other city, in the other team in your city, to come to those games.
And if you don't sell out a World Series game, there's something wrong with you anyway.
Well, I'm not talking World Series.
About regular
I'm
season.
Talking regular season Cubs, White Sox.
I got you.
Now you're increasing your attendance at least 18 more games.
Why is it that, in New York, you've got a ton of Mets fans. You've got a ton of Yankees fans, more Yankees fans than Mets fans, but the Mets fans are very, very large. But the other two cities, it's Dodgers. Oh, yeah, we've got the Angels, too. In Chicago, the Cubs.
Oh, yeah,
we got the White Sox, too. It's almost like those two teams are like the redheaded stepchild. Because New York, it's not like that. It's Mets have
it is like
large.
That, though.
It's a large, but they've got a large following of Mets fans. They really do.
They do, but I think part of it is because the Yankees, the Cubs, and the Dodgers all were around so much longer before the other three came in. Now, the Mets, as you said, I think it was 62.
62 it was.
Yeah. So when they came in, yes, they have a large following because you've got 8-9 million people in New York. But in the grand scheme of things, if I were a betting man, I'd say it's 2-1 Yankees to Mets fans in New York.
Yeah, and then Los Angeles, it's probably a 5 to 1. I mean, the Angels, I know, and listen, like I said, that's a huge metropolitan area, and they draw pretty good. But if they could just be successful on the field, I mean, it took Ohtani had to leave the Angels to go to the Dodgers to play in postseason baseball.
That's right. If they didn't have Trout, the Angels would not be a major league team.
It's unbelievable. And then the White Sox, my God, we've had 2 years in a row where they've just looked
horrible. Who's a worse owner? This is not on the question docket.
It doesn't matter.
Who's a worse owner? Artie Moreno or Jerry Jones. I know they're different sports, but they are the embarrassment of both of their leagues.
I'm going to say something that most people get this. I'm not as anti Jerry Jones as a lot of other people. I'm not as anti. I think he needs to hire a full-time GM and get the heck out of the way. But he's not going to do that because he thinks he knows football more. But there are other owners I think that are worse than him.
Fair enough.
You know,
I guess
Snyder, who owned the Redskins / Commanders, maybe the worst owner I've ever seen.
I won't even argue that. But since he's out right now, Artie Moreno, if you remember, and I know you will, he took away Pujols, gave him a huge offer from the Cardinals, and I said, hey, goodbye, take the money. And the Cardinals got the best 11 years of Pujols, and the Angels got the worst 10 years. And now I hear that he's in the running to be the next manager for the Angels. Great. I love Pujols.
Yeah, I do too.
But he chose to take the money rather than the legacy. I understand that decision. That's not what I would have done, but good for him. And I hope you make a great manager.
Yeah, like I said, something's got to be done at that franchise, or for that franchise, and the same with the White Sox. But anyway, let's go ahead and take a break. Hey, when we come back, we're going to be talking to Bradley Central High football coach Damon Floyd. You're listening to The Drive here on ESPN Cleveland.
The Drive will be back after a quick timeout. Stay tuned for more nonstop sports talk on The Drive, presented by Hardees.
Hardees is hiring. Join the Star Team. Flexible scheduling, daily pay, free meals, 20% family discount, plus paid vacation for part-time and full-time employees. Apply in-store or online at hardees.com today.
When competition is fierce, sports injuries happen, and Center for Sports Medicine and Orthopedics is here to help. Saturday sports clinics are available at our Chattanooga and Cleveland offices from August 23rd through November 8th for the treatment of non-emergency orthopedic injuries like sprains, strains, and fractures. Doors open at 9 a.m., no appointment needed to be seen by our highly trained physicians and clinical staff. Saturday sports clinic dates are subject to change. Check sportmed.com for the latest information. That's sportmed.com.
Cleveland, the all-new Select Flooring and Remodeling is now open at 5555 North Lee Highway. We carry the top flooring brands you know and trust: Mohawk, Shaw, Engineer Floors, and United Weavers. We also specialize in home remodeling and roofing, delivering quality you can count on. Take advantage of 24 months interest-free credit. Come see us Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, and Saturday, 9 to 2. Call us today at 423-889-3007. That's Select Flooring and Remodeling, 5555 North Lee Highway, Cleveland. From the floors to the roof, we've got you covered.
For the past quarter century, Mix 104.1 has been your home for UT Vols football. That's something to celebrate. Vol 25 is here. ESPN Cleveland 101.3 and USS are giving you a chance to win tickets to all of the Tennessee road games this season. Each Monday before a road game, you can register to win tickets to that Saturday's Vols game. Vol 25 is brought to you by USS. Visit USSTN.com/Chattanooga. For more information, check out our ESPN Cleveland 101.3 socials on Facebook and Instagram.
Do your legs feel heavy, tired, or achy? Dr. James Gooden at Milligan Vein offers an office treatment that can make you look and feel better, and your procedure is covered by most insurance. Visit milliganvein.com or call Dr. Gooden today at 423-961-5682.
Check your wallet. Empty? Check your bills. Overdue? Check your stress level. Maxed? Now, check into cash. Check into Cash is your one-stop money shop, and we've got everything you need. Payday loans and flex lines of credit options? Check. Quick in-store services like money orders and wire transfers? Check. Turn your unused gift cards into cash? Oh yeah, check. And yes, we cash checks. All kinds. Fast. Check that off your list. Visit checkintocash.com or check into a store to get started. The process is simple, quick, and designed to get you the help you need fast. If you've been approved, you can leave with cash in hand. We have locations in the Chattanooga area, including Cleveland and Athens. Check in, cash out, and get on with life. Check into Cash. We fund today to make a better tomorrow. Subject to state regulations, eligibility, credit check, underwriting, and approval. Rates, restrictions, and fees apply. Visit a store for details. Welcome back to The Drive, presented by Hardees. Join the conversation. Text 423-749-1013. You can also listen anywhere on our website, ESPNCleveland1013.com.
When it comes to Mayfield Dairy ice cream, you'll never have a boring bite. Their limited edition ice creams, cherry chocolate chip and banana pudding, are inspired by traditional Southern recipes and seasonal favorites. Pick some up today at your local grocery store. And we're happy to have on with us head football coach of the Bradley Central High Bears, Damon Floyd. Coach Floyd, how you doing, man?
I'm doing all right. Currently, I'm looking for my dang golf ball, though, so I got my earbuds in, playing a little golf, but
are you at the country out the country club, or you're somewhere else?
Yeah, we're out at the country club. We're on number 5 by the creek. You know where it's at.
I know. I saw you out there with your daughter one time, man. Hey, man, what a great win that was against Cleveland this past Friday. Talk a little bit about that, the way that game went, and your overall thoughts about that one.
Well, I mean, obviously, I don't think we started well. You know, we turned it over early, and they were able to kick the field goal. Our defense did a good job blowing their back, but we got things rolling. You know, anytime you beat Cleveland, it's obviously a good win, and you know, they're obviously struggling this year, and we're being honest, we had the better players this year. So, you know, players win games, and they went out and played, and it was a fun game, fun atmosphere. I was really happy. You know, we started on a fall break Friday, and man, our side was packed. Our fans have always been very supportive of us and come watch the game. So I know our players really noticed our side of the stands. So we really do appreciate them coming out and watching us play. And, yeah, it was a good performance. So it was a good win and a good way to start fall break.
Absolutely. And what kind of a week was this like with the kids not being in school? Obviously, Bradley's the only local school that has a game this Friday. So did anything change as far as preparations, or was it, you know, the same as normal?
We tried to keep everything as much as possible the same, but obviously we practiced in the morning, so it'd be a little cooler. Of course, this week was great weather, but, you know, we did our normal routine. We always lift weights first, then we watch film, and then practice, so we kept that the same, and practice the same amount of time. So the same schedule. But I always like playing on fall break. You know, when you're going through schedules, everybody wants off. But as a coach, I like only having to worry about a game and not having to go to school.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it is hard to get players to practice sometimes, but I like just being able to focus on the game and not anything else. And, you know, so for us, I like playing on fall break.
You know, you're talking about the fans and the support that Bear Stadium. Well, we'll just see how good your fan base is as far as traveling, because you guys have got 3 road games to finish up the 2025 regular season campaign at Saudi Daisy. Then you got an open date, and then at Maryville and at Bearden. We talked about this earlier. Do you have this mentality, us against the world, when you're on the road like that?
We don't really talk about it that much. I probably should, but no, I actually like playing on the road sometimes too, because, you know, the worst time for us is when you get out of school and you play at home, and then you don't go out and warm up till like 5:50. So there's a lot of dead times. So I actually enjoy going on the road because now there's not as much to do for our kids. We're on the bus, we get out, and, you know, you get taped pretty quick, and then you're going through your position meetings, that kind of thing. So sometimes it's for us as coaches, we like going on the road, but it will be tough going on the last 3 games on the road. That's not something you want to do, but it's just the way the schedule worked out this year.
Coach, this is Bart Greenberger. You mentioned the last 2 answers. Basically, you like coaching when there are fewer distractions for the kids. So as you're getting ready to do these 3 road games, obviously you have the time on the bus. Is there some routine that you do in the locker room on a road game to make sure that those distractions that are there at home are not there on the road?
Well, we obviously it's different because you're on the road, so you don't go through exactly the same routine. But on the road, you know, once we get off the bus, we'll do some kind of walkthrough or some kind of position meetings, make sure we go over the game plan. But then really you don't have a whole lot of time. You know, usually we'll stop and eat a pregame meal along the way, and then, like I said, get back on the bus and then go through position meetings. And then by that time they're getting taped, and, you know, your warm-ups are pretty much happening. So, it is different when you're at home, because at home, like I said, there's so much dead time. And on the road, you don't have as much time, which I like.
Coach, last question, because I know you're playing golf. So tell us a little bit about Saudi Daisy.
Hard-nosed team. You know, they're going to try to run the ball. They're going to try to keep the ball away from us and control the clock. You know, they've obviously had some good wins, and then they've played a couple of tough opponents that got the best of them. But it's always been really tough to play at Saudi. I know they're always physical, and that's the same way they look this year on film. So our guys definitely got to be ready to play. But, you know, just another chance to go out and compete. And you know, us moving Braden to quarterback last week, he needs to get a little bit more comfortable, so we're going to have to throw it around a little bit more. And so offensively, you know, that's what we're looking to do tomorrow night.
Well, man, good luck on the football field on Friday, and good luck on the remaining holes out there at the country club the rest of the afternoon.
Yeah, I need a lot of luck, because right now I'm struggling. So.
All right, man. See you later.
Thank you. Bye.
All right, Coach Floyd getting ready to play, you know, Friday night against Saudi Daisy. Like you said, the record doesn't indicate. Saudi Daisy is always a solid high school football team. If you don't come ready, you'll get beat.
That's exactly right.
So anyway, that's one of those. Like I said, there are certain programs in this area you can throw the records out. You know you're going to be in a dogfight. They've always got big physical guys. It's kind of there's other schools like that too. I would consider Bradley to be one of those teams. Even when Bradley's having a down season, they're usually pretty physical. You know you're going to get hit in the mouth a couple times, and you just how do you react to it?
I'll give you another school, more Chattanooga. I just did the clock at a Howard game. Now Howard's down this year,
yes,
and everybody knows it. They had a hard-fought game at home against Sale Creek. Now, Coach Fitzgerald...
And Sale Creek, by the way, ranked for the first time in their entire history this week.
I didn't know that.
They had never, ever, ever been ranked.
Coach Fitzgerald had his players ready. Yes, they are a little bit better record-wise, but Howard came out. They don't have as many kids, but you know you're going to have a dogfight. And Howard ended up throwing an interception on the last play of the game in the end zone that would have tied the game.
That's incredible.
Yeah, it was a fun game. So you're right. There's always schools. There are certain coaches in the area. They just know how to coach up their kids, and they're going to give you a battle, whoever you're lining up against.
You know, we all know where we live. We live here in the Southeast, and obviously football, college football rules in this area.
Yes.
There's no question. But, man, I saw some stats today. The NFL is killing it on television ratings. And they've always killed it.
Always.
But they are killing it more so than ever before. Listen to some of this. This past weekend, CBS averaged $19.57 million for its Week 5 single header. That's their average. That's better
$20 million.
That's better than any college games done this year. That's what they average. NBC Sunday Night Sunday Night Football pulled a $21.9 million for the Patriots Bills game, marking the 6th consecutive broadcast above $20 million. It's unbelievable what the NFL does. And I don't know if I did not know this, but you know, before only I guess a couple years ago, Nielsen's ratings were kind of using the old system, but now they've updated it to where they now count streaming and out-of-home audiences, and that's helped boost up these ratings.
No question. They are now able to track, if I go out with my wife and there happens to be a TV on or a bar, hey, look, I can watch that game, I might get tracked. And it's just it's better for everybody.
You know, and you know, we talk about the NFL, and you know, as much as we love college football here in the South, we're in a minority. The most of this country would much prefer NFL over college. And the numbers prove that out.
What would you prefer?
I prefer college football.
And I prefer pro.
You know, I just, you know, I've lived here most of my life. Saturdays are king to me. But I'm telling you, I love that. What about you, Ephraim?
You're a little bit younger. Ephraim, what do you like?
You know, growing up, I've watched college football. Like, we always have parties on Saturdays with all our friends and family and stuff like that. But recently, I've been getting into more NFL because college for me has kind of lost its passion a little bit. It's kind of fallen off since the
NIL and the transfer portal?
I remember growing up from like 2014 when I realized I'm watching college football. When I became the age, I was like 7, and I was like, oh, I'm interested in this. I remember growing up seeing all this passion, seeing all these like great players, Johnny Manziel, all these people that just forced through everybody and were just amazing and just had that passion, right? I grew up watching Tim Tebow highlights in Florida,
he was great,
right?
Man.
Which he was amazing, and the passion behind him. And now since NIL has came in, there's not that much passion. Yes, there are other teams who are becoming better and not just sitting at the bottom, and there are more teams improving because of the NIL. But still, you don't have that passion that you had back in the day.
So who is your NFL team?
My NFL, I'm more into players than NFL,
Okay.
but if I had to choose one, Atlanta Falcons maybe, probably.
Okay.
Do you find as a younger man, fantasy football is more or less engaging for you and your friends?
It's way more engaging because we get to talk about, not just, teams, but we get to talk about individual players, if they score 40 points or if they score 5,
Yep.
right? If they have an up week or if they have a down week, and waiver wire and everything. It's chaotic, but it's so much fun.
And it is. So I've been doing fantasy for about 30 years. Fantasy football is just phenomenal. Every Sunday, laptop open, 3 screens open, my phone checking stats. I'm more of an NFL fan. I no longer have a team. Jim, you and I have talked about this. When the Rams moved to L.A., I was done with having a team.
Were you a St. Louis Cardinals football fan?
I was. Remember, I have a picture standing
That's
on
right,
the field.
at Busch Memorial Stadium. That's
By the way,
right,
I found it. I never sent it to you. I found the picture of me leaning up against the goalpost.
That's cool.
When I was 14 years old. So, yes, my father was a season ticket holder for St. Louis Cardinals football. Oh, by the way, you could shoot a cannon through that stadium and not hit anybody. Nobody went. But they were so much fun as a football fan. But now that I don't have a team to root for, so you just mentioned the Falcons. I'm here to tell you that every Sunday I no longer fret over if my Falcons, I'm speaking on your behalf hypothetically, are they going to win? Are they going to lose? I can't believe that Michael Penix made that throw or that Drake London did this. I don't stress over that anymore. Now the only thing I stress is, oh, come on. Why did you not throw that ball to Ladd McConkey?
Yeah.
And by the way, I actually said that in a game 2 Sundays ago, and I knew I needed help.
I've said that before, I'm pretty sure. With Ladd McConkey in my flex spot getting about 5 points a game, so it's just it's rough.
That is so fun. Now, see, me, I'm a Bengals fan, so I'm all stressed out because Joe Burrow's out.
Right. Joe Flacco
Just
now.
got Joe Flacco, yeah. I picked him up on waiver wire.
I already had him. How sad is that? I had him.
By the way, Joe Flacco, when he was with the Browns, he did leave the Browns over the Packers. And guess who the Bengals play this Sunday?
The Packers.
Could he leave?
No chance.
Over the Packers, two different franchises from the state of Ohio in a matter of
3
weeks?
No chance. I say the Packers win by 50. Sorry, Jim. I know
I'll take that.
I'm not betting it. But after the Packers lost last week, 2 weeks ago to Cleveland, no chance. No chance. Packers are going to be. Matt LaFleur will have them ready.
Yeah, I wish the Bengals could find a bunch of offensive linemen that they could put up there because, man, they can't protect
3
anybody.
years in a row they haven't protected Burrow.
Unbelievable.
And Chase Brown has regressed. I have him on my fantasy team.
Well, how can you get any better when there's no one blocking for
okay,
you?
good point. Good point.
I mean, I'm shocked Burrow had the success he had last year. I mean, of course, that is a cursed franchise.
Well, you know what your coach tried to do last year is they were trying to take Zach Taylor. They were trying to take the Offensive Player of the Year award away from Lamar. They kept having Joe Burrow throw every down just to pad his stats. I'm convinced of it.
He padded him pretty good.
I had him on fantasy. Yes, he padded him really well.
But, man, it is difficult. I think it's interesting, though, that you haven't transitioned to the NFL, but you've kind of leaned closer to the NFL, right?
Yep. Right now I am. For the past 2 years I've been, yes.
So let's now, who's your favorite? Alabama, right?
Alabama,
okay.
college.
Alabama's playing. The Falcons are playing. Both in postseason contention. And this never happens.
It's not going to
Let's
happen.
just hypothetically. No. They're both playing at the same time, and you can only watch one. You can't have a split screen. You get the Falcons, and you got the Crimson Tide. Which game you watch?
Great question.
That's a good question. With the history behind, college football, me growing up in it, I would probably go towards the college football game now, especially because I watch a lot more Alabama games than I do Atlanta Falcons games, if I'm being honest, because sometimes we don't carry Atlanta Falcons games down here.
Which
with
used to be
DirecTV and
the
everything
total
like that,
opposite.
so.
Before the
Yeah, it
Titans
did.
came in, you saw every Falcons game. But if the Falcons are on the same network as the Titans get the go ahead of the Falcons.
I don't really want to watch poverty Titans team right now. So,
Titans. They beat Arizona this past week. No, wait a minute. Arizona beat
themselves.
We talked about that Monday. So I just want to throw one thing out. When it comes to you get the Titans, every affiliate in the country, Fox or CBS, they have to declare their home team.
Yes.
So, and I knew you knew that. Some of the viewers may or may not know that. Some of the listeners. So because I have to declare as a station, as you just said, I can't get both. I have to have a priority. So if the Titans are on, I always have to watch the Titans.
And I don't know when TV changed, but it used to be the home team or the visiting team was always the network that got it. So if an AFC team was at an NFC team, the AFC network televised that game. But, man, lately, and I've noticed there's a little mixing up. Sometimes you'll see two NFC teams play on Fox. You'll see two NFC teams play on CBS. And they've mixed it up. It used to be a hard line, but they've kind of mixed it up, though.
I actually can answer it in one word. Flex. Now,
okay.
the longer answer is when Sunday Night Football was allowed to flex their games starting in, don't quote me on this, I think it's week 11 or week 12.
Something like that. It's towards the latter part of about the midway of November, I
That's
guess.
right.
Yeah.
What happens now is if I take your game, whether it's a Fox or CBS game, that network then has the right to pick from
a pool of optional.
Now, the networks have the ability to block some. So hypothetically, if I'm Fox, I'm blocking Detroit, Green Bay on a week. So CBS couldn't take
I get that.
But they have a pool of games to choose. And I recently saw, it was either last Sunday or 2 Sundays ago, that exact example that you just described happened. Flex has changed all of that, where now it doesn't matter what conference you're in.
You can be on either network.
The network is going to take the game
CBS
they
or
want.
Fox on a Sunday afternoon.
That's right.
Yeah, it really has. It used to be easy to know which network was going to. But like you said, then the Flex thing came about, and I did not know that was, but it makes a lot of sense.
We talked last Monday about the international games, and that has also had an impact because NFL Network is now doing some games, and then you've got
Amazon
Prime.
Thursday night.
That's right.
Tonight.
So because all of these others, Fox and CBS feel like they are losing out on some prime games, they wanted some other ones.
By the way, speaking of that game tonight, Philadelphia at New York, I'm interested to watch Jackson Dart play quarterback for the Giants.
He's not, but he scrambles a lot. By the way,
he had a rough game last week. Okay, he started off really good 2 weeks ago when he got his first start. Last week, reality hit. He threw some bad picks, but I'm excited about this kid. I am.
But Jackson Dart's first start was against Pittsburgh, and they don't have a defense. You could have thrown well against Pittsburgh's defense.
That is such an oxymoron to say.
I know.
Because Pittsburgh, for my entire life, has always had a good defense.
This will be Mike Tomlin's last year, in my opinion. I don't see how he survives another year of mediocrity. Great. He's gone 19 years without being under 500. They've also won how many playoff games in the last 10 years?
Long time. I don't even know if Ephraim was born yet.
No, I'm kidding. I know, but he's not that young.
It's been a minute.
And
though.
that's why I don't think Tomlin, you can only be mediocre for so long.
Anyway, Bart, thanks again for coming out. Hey, by the way, tell everyone what you do and tell them how they can get in touch with you.
I appreciate that. Bart Greenberger, owner of Perception is Reality Business Coaching, and I'm a media buyer. I do buy TV and radio and digital marketing, mostly in Illinois, and I work with small business owners, and I help them with the business side of owning a small business.
How can they reach you?
PIRBIZ.com. PIRBIZ. Perception is Reality Business, BIZ.com. PIRBIZ.com.
Terrific, man.
Thank you for having me.
Hey, hope everyone out there has a great Thursday. You've been listening to The Drive here on ESPN Cleveland. We'll see everyone tomorrow.
This is John Davis, the trading man at Kia Cleveland on South Lee Highway. Is your old car really scary? Are you frightened about how much you owe? Don't be afraid. afraid. We'll take any trade. Let your scary old car rust in peace. Kia Cleveland will pay you up to $7,000 over Kelley Blue Book market value for your current vehicle, running or not. That's right, up to $7,000 for any trade in any condition. And we'll buy your car for cash, even if you don't buy a car from us. Are you haunted by bad credit? Don't sweat it. Our lenders will say yes to you and yes to your situation. Don't be frightened by how much you owe on your old car. At Kia of Cleveland, we can get you out. Come see me, John Davis, at Kia Cleveland on South Lee Highway in beautiful Cleveland, Tennessee, where trading your car is as easy as 1, 2, 3. Negative trade equity financed in new loan, subject to lender approval. Expires month end.
Now at Hardees, 2 hand-breaded chicken tender wraps are only $5. Mix and match your favorite flavors like buttermilk ranch, honey mustard, and spicy. Endless combinations start with 2 warm tortillas, each filled with 100% white meat, juicy on the inside, crispy on the outside, hand-breaded chicken tenders. Any 2 wraps, now just $5. Hardees, goodness in the making. These items only. Price and participation may vary. Tax not included. Visit restaurant for details.
The absolute best deals are located at Deal Days. Everything in the store, $7 on Saturday and Sunday, $5 on Monday, $3 on Tuesday, and just $1 on Wednesday. Located next to Planet Fitness on APD 40. Other locations are in Chatsworth, Calhoun, and Cartersville. That's Deal Day.
From the Kia of Cleveland studios, this is ESPN Cleveland 1013, WCLE HD2 Cleveland, W267BI Cleveland, ESPN Cleveland 1013.
The top of the hour is presented by Best Buy Metals, making the top of your house the best it can be. Visit bestbuymetalroofing.com.
Final hour has arrived. We appreciate you sticking around with us one more hour before we get on the bus and drive to Missouri. Let's check out Brian in Tulsa. Hey, Brian.
Hey, Paul. I'm more calm now. Joe, that was a great call. I want to talk about Jim from Michigan. Okay, Jim, here's the reason. Let me tell you something. The best thing that ever happened in Columbus, Ohio, was back in 2017 when Oklahoma came to that cesspool of Ohio Stadium, whooped your Buckeye asses. Baker Mayfield took that flag, planted around the 50-yard line, and stick it to the Buckeye fans. So if you get a chance to call Ohio State, I want a piece of that turf where he's planted that flag, so I can write the final score on that piece of nasty turf that is known as Columbus, Ohio Stadium. And Buckeye fans, Paul, remind me a lot of LeBron James, or should I say LaFlop James. They are as soft and they were whiny and complaining just like LeBron James. So I guess those two fit perfect together, Paul. And last thing before I go, Paul, I am ready for OU Texas. I'm ready for this game, and I've heard that Texas is a 1-point favorite. Oh, just wait till Oklahoma comes in there and put 50 to 60 on Texas, because that defense is going to kill Arch Manning. Paul, that's all I got to say. Boomer Sooner, I'm out.
Chris is up next in South Carolina. Good afternoon, Chris.
Man, them regulators, man, I tell you what, Paul. I tell you what, man, ain't nothing but a bunch of black hat rejects. And the only thing the difference between the black hats and the regulators, Paul, is the regulated bus wheels are closer. That's the only difference, Paul. But I mean, that handsome Joe, he went off today. He did go off today, man. I was hoping for one of them Piggy Willie plates he always talking about. Catch the smell in his nose so he can shut up and eat some of it. Jack it on the line, take it in the last 5 minutes. Come on, handsome Joe. And you talking about call of the year? Paul, I think you started to give that word out for the worstest call, Paul. And I guess ESPN didn't get my message yesterday. Why they keep taking you off the air, Paul? We want our 4 hours. I ain't got time to keep putting my headset in my ear, man. I want to see you. Y'all need to start making these bullcrap decisions and keep Paul on air all 4 hours. He's the best thing on the SEC network. He better than SEC Now and all the other shows. Quit cutting him off. Dang. Have a nice day, Paul.
Thank you, Chris. Appreciate the message. Max is up next in Virginia. Hey, Max.
Hey, Mr. Feinbaum. This first-time caller and a graduate of 2 SEC schools. Wanted to remind your viewers about a quarterback from the SEC who played an entire game with a broken arm. Ironically, he is the grandfather of the Texas quarterback, Archie Manning, who gave his name to Arch Manning. If anybody wants to learn more about the particular game, the SEC channel does a fabulous program, documentary entitled Saturday Down South, and his game for the broken arm is fully detailed in that documentary. It's amazing how he played that game. It was not his throwing arm, obviously, but it was his other arm. And, of course, gripping the football, you need two hands, and he did a good job in that game. Archie Manning. Thank you for taking the call.
Max, thank you for sharing that. I'd forgotten that. That's an amazing, really extraordinary story. You be well. You take care of yourself. Paul is up next.